welcome into our Game Week 3 post reaction podcast. We are the Three Wanks. We're here to talk to you guys about our game weeks, how they went on, and we're trying to give you some insights going into next week after the international break. Are we wild carding? Are we free hitting? Are we making multiple hits? Who's to say? But we'd like to look into some of our strategies and talk through kind of the rest of the season as well as talk about how fucked the start of this season has been. Sharp, how we doing?
Hey, not as good as last year, but we're doing better than others in the chat, so we'll take that.
We made an agreement this year, starting this week, that whoever loses the game week has to come in wearing an interesting hat. Mac, do you care to share?
Yep, it was me. My interesting had a choice was a plunger because I want to flush this shit down the drain. So hopefully we'll never see this again. It's only uphill from here. I'm glad we instituted this in week 3 because I've lost every week so far, I think.
Yeah, we
I
just
was
saved
gonna
you a couple.
say, we might just need to put that plunger onto our podcast logo.
Yeah,
Just,
seriously.
Put it on my head on the logo.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it seems it's gonna be a mainstay.
based on performance, that's how it's been. I'm
No, and
nervous.
I texted on Sunday afternoon right before the Palace game. Like I was like, ah, I'm fucked because y'all had coverage on Watkins. That was pretty much all I had left. I still had Chris Richards, and I was at the bottom of the three of our standings. I was not trying to jinx it. I was not trying to be an ass. I really was just like, oh, there's no way. And then Chris Richards just came out of the blue, got an 8 pointer. Ollie Watkins blanked like he has been, and
Yeah,
things flipped on their heads. Like it was Sharp, Mac, and then myself, and then it flipped completely on its heads.
Well,
Because
it was like in the
dude.
span of 2 minutes because then I lost the double force clean sheet and went
Yeah.
from like, you know, 65 points this week down to 48 in like an instant.
what an absolute
Brutal.
fucking brutal week. Well, Mac, do you want to start with your game week review?
Yeah, I can get going on this first. Um, Altogether, it wasn't like an awful week for me. And so it's a bummer to be in this position because I was cooking for most of it. But like you said, right at the end, kind of fizzled out a little bit.
Hey,
Um,
you're finally up to average though. You are officially qualified to
I
be telling
know.
other people what to do.
Hey, at this rate, I might be in the top 6 million. Bold claims. But so 48 points, not amazing. I alluded to it earlier, but that the wipe of the double Forest clean sheet right at the end was terrible. That was a complete capitulation by the Forest players. And when we get into the transfer section, I'll talk about it more, but I'm out on Forest defense. Fuck these guys. I
Damn.
should have like 36 more points this season, and they just keep throwing it away in a heartbreaking fashion for me and me alone. But so very selfishly motivated.
I mean, just touching on that though, because you're certainly not alone by getting screwed over by Forest consistently.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah,
What
they're
the? I
my
mean, West Ham fucking blows. How did this happen?
I think like
terrible.
them conceding, first of all, like West Ham, hell of a job, did great adjustments. They out forested Forest. They just kept them like centrally, they couldn't do anything. They clogged up the center of the field. And so from a Chris Wood ownership side of it, for me and you, Sharp, that meant good things because it meant the only thing they could do to attack was cross balls into Chris Wood and hope he got his head on him. And he did, but didn't put him in the back of the net. But as far as the defensive side, like I know it's 3-0, but it really was they just kind of like gave up at the end of the game, it seemed like. It felt like they got one scored on him and they were just like, ah, fuck this.
That's how I
Um,
felt. It was like a good game until there was the one, and then they were like, "And we're just not going to play anymore." I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, God!" So we're
But
just going to like take minus points on my defender scores this week.
But it is a good point of the Forest defenders. Like, I think it's a worthwhile conversation because I actually still believe, like, not maybe not the longest term, but I still think it's just genuinely been so unlucky. Neco Williams for you is tough because I saw that they brought in some competition at left back, so I don't know how nailed his spot is, but we haven't seen them play games where there's going to be a lot of DEF CON that may be coming this week against Arsenal. You'd think that's a team where they're going to kind of park the bus. But I just think like clean sheets are coming. Like you almost had it. You've almost had it like 3 weeks in a row. So
I mean,
it's so tough.
I'm a combined 10 minutes of playtime away from having 24 more points.
Yeah,
Like it's
seriously.
been brutal. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm like entirely out. I agree. There's still some good fixtures coming up. I mean, particularly with the Burnley Sunderland back to back. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
that I don't think that I can keep relying on having two of them because when it works, which it hasn't, so I don't even know if it's a win at this point, but when it works, it's going to be a great upside. And that's why I picked them for some of those games, but
Yeah.
they have not followed through. And if I had like a clean sheet from basically literally any other defender, I mean, I think Anderson right now might be my highest scoring defender, and he is on Fulham. So I can't be so reliant on them in the defense
Yeah.
as I think
I
they
do
should.
wonder
I
with them
mean,
though, if the fixtures, like looking at like Burnley and Sunderland compared to what they have next with like Newcastle and Chelsea, are those maybe actually better for the defenders in a weird way? Because then we're going to see Forest do the Forest and
well,
like,
I don't even think yes. I don't know if I'm going to say yes all the way, but Newcastle, I don't think that should be a four based on how they played this season. I
sure,
mean, they couldn't do anything against Leeds. Why are we going to expect them to do something against other teams? Especially, again, we can touch on it later when my team stole their star player, but I just don't foresee that truly being a four fixture in the same way an Arsenal, a City, a
sure.
Liverpool would put a goal in,
I don't know.
undoubtedly.
I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I don't have any Newcastle players in my team to like pull up their fixtures readily. I don't think it'll come together for them quite yet, but they have signed two forwards in Nick Woltermade and then Johan Wissa, and we know Wissa is a good
This
forward,
is a
right?
player.
So
Yeah.
like I've always said that Gordon is a fantastic player, but he's not a very good striker. It was the same way when he came from Everton, and I'm not looking to move on their assets immediately because they got some difficult fixtures, if I recall off the top of my head. But I think if Wissa beds in, I have enough faith in that team to perform pretty well. But yeah, I mean,
I think it's pertinent, especially for me going into free hit this week because they play Wolves. I hear you, Sharp. It's really weird this weekend though. When they played Leeds, they came out with a completely different lineup than what they've had in the past. They benched a lot of their starters. Um, it was just an odd setup. I'm not sure what the thought process was. If it was hey, we don't have the team that we want to have, so we're going to completely adjust and try to be a little bit more defensive, or what. But yeah, I mean, nil
Well,
nil
and
against Leeds is tough.
yeah, I mean, it's brutal no matter who you're playing, putting out there. I mean, you didn't lose to Grimsby, so I guess that's a positive. But you also, I mean, Gordon was suspended for that match, so
Right.
I guess take that into consideration too.
Well, and on the flip
But
side, like they looked really good against Liverpool. For the majority of the game, they really played up to Liverpool standards. So it's like
they
I
do, but
don't really know
Liverpool
what to
has a
do.
way of playing down and playing as aggressive as they want and
Sure.
staying really open. And they played with 10 men and scored both those goals, but they also just were fueled by pure hate. So you got to
but I
respect
don't
that.
think it's like I don't think it's like Liverpool played down to like a Burnley level. Like Newcastle is a solid team in my opinion. I think that Liverpool played down to maybe like a fourth place team versus a
I think that
championship winning team.
I wouldn't even say playing down's necessarily the correct word, but looking at how they played against Arsenal this weekend, where everything was so tight because neither
Yeah.
of them wanted to give anything up, the difference is that they just play really open. I mean, that's the same reason that in week one, we let up goal at Semenyo's goals too, is because we just play really open when we want to and think we're just going to win no matter what and can outscore you. Um, but I digress.
Yeah. No, it's a good discussion. I'm happy to have it. Yeah, I don't know. Last thing on Forest, it's just that I think that if I was going to make a transfer this week, it would probably be one of them because I just can't can't keep relying on the double Forest clean sheets, which just haven't come yet. I mean, we have 1.2.1 point, and then it's not even like the def cons are really there.
Yeah.
5-3-6 on Williams, who wasn't supposed to be a def con monster, but you know, 4, 6, and 5 on Murillo, who is supposed to be a DEFCON monster. So they're not scoring clean sheets and they're not scoring DEFCONs. What are they scoring? And my score reflects nothing.
Well, the good
Uh,
news is you can rely on Anderson to get you exactly 11 DEF cons every week
dude,
and just
he's
miss out.
consistent. It's just he's consistently pissing me off. That's
Dude, that's
all.
what I'm saying. I really feel like Forrest is just one of these like it's got to be so frustrating, and I get where you're at, but I honestly think you're this close to greatness with it. Like it's so close that I almost am like just stick it. Neko Williams
Well,
with the rotation now is like a genuine that might need a change, but
it's
Do
my
we need to
fault.
insert the meme of the guy that's
yeah,
digging
we
for
were
gold
this
and turns
close.
away right
Yeah.
before the diamonds?
It's my fault because I was the one crying for their relegation at the beginning of the season and decided to load up on three of them. So I should have just stuck with my convictions. It's on me. Um, Moving on though from that terrible team, we got Pedro Porro, who surprisingly did pretty well. I don't actually think I know where his points came from this week. Where did they come from? So
He
just
got some random
the
DEF CON. So
DEFCONs, yeah.
yeah, after the game, he got added a couple extra points and just
Mm.
barely hit the threshold.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still fine on Pedro Porro. He did what he needed to do. He got DEFCONs, which is rare. It's not a position I expected him to, get a lot of points on. But I mean, really, really solid fixtures coming up, and he's just kind of a stalwart of the team. So totally fine there. Nothing really major to report with the Spurs Porro player.
Only thing I saw in him was that he might be losing his right-sided corners now to whoever
uh
they brought in midfield.
Simmons,
Who? Yeah,
Simons,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that is actually a possibility, which would maybe decrease his upside a little bit. So if he's not like attacking like a fullback and he's not scoring defensive contributions consistently and he's not on set pieces anymore, long term he might not be a
Yeah.
keep. But just with the fixtures, I'm fine
Yep.
with him through probably 8, and then I'll maybe look to ship him away, maybe 9, depending on
Yeah.
how just gathering more information. He's the type of player you could easily keep in your team all season because he'd be solid, I think, just generally speaking, or you just go with the changes if we learn more information because we have 2 good results in Spurs for City, Burnley, and then we have Bournemouth, who wasn't a great result. So
Yeah.
go either way, not worth hitting a transfer on. I think at this point when I have bigger issues in the team. Speaking of bigger issues, the Villa boys just not rewarding my faith at all. It's a bummer because I keep looking at these fixtures going, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, I know that I didn't expect much from the first 3 in Crystal Palace and Newcastle, but I certainly expected more from the Brentford game, especially with how bad Brentford have looked, and they didn't look good there. And it's kind of tough because it's like these fixtures are fantastic, and
Yeah.
I think specifically in the case of Watkins, they're proven assets, but man, they just do not look good. Like I drafted both these Villa boys with the expectation that even if they regressed a little bit from last year, they'd be fine because the fixtures are generally speaking pretty solid through like 14. You could even argue 17, barring this little tough period right here of 4 games. But it's like, man, they're not even getting the ball forward. Watkins is not in the game. Tielemans is not in the game. I can't even bank on a lucky penalty for Tielemans at this point. So it's like between the heavy on the Forest and heavy on the Villa, I am suffering. And that's where I think
Yeah.
most of my woes have been coming from.
I mean, I think I was on here last week preaching patience with Watkins, but man, he's testing it.
Well, I
He
mean,
is,
He had some big chances. Ollie had like a couple of one-on-ones with the keeper. Like one of those goes in, we're back, baby. But I feel your pain, Matt, because I mean they're second on the fixture ticker over the next 5 behind Spurs. You can't get rid of him right now. You just can't.
no,
And you have other fires to put out. Like
yeah, I don't see myself getting rid of Watkins basically at all because that guy's good enough to like luck into a goal, right? Is my theory. Tielemans, I'm not as confident I'll keep
yeah,
because he's just not doing anything. And then I kind of got Tielemans under the assumption that Rodgers would be out for a little bit longer, but because he's back, I don't even feel like Tielemans is doing much.
he
So
is playing quite a bit deeper. I
he's
was
playing.
keeping my eye on that.
It's sort of like the Bruno conundrum,
Yeah.
just on a cheaper mid. So also tempted to drop Tielemans um sometime in the next couple weeks, but it's like, is that a priority with the fixtures being so good? I don't know, maybe not. If we move on to some of the positives, at least, though, I feel pretty validated by the transfers I made this week. So I took out Cole Palmer early to just avoid the price drops, and then just did a 1 for 1, just to get another Chelsea cover by bringing in Pedro. I know that's not directly, and then to facilitate, I had 2 free transfers. I also dropped Guehi out for Semenyo, and Semenyo didn't contribute in the Spurs game, but he played, and that's fine. And I benched him for a reason. And I mean, look at those fixtures coming up for the Bournemouth
yeah.
Asses. They are just awesome from 4 through, I mean, arguably 9. Like I was afraid because Bournemouth lost like their entire back line, they would regress. But I mean, Ariel is a good coach, and they're just continuing to cook. And I'm like, I could seriously see myself holding Semenyo through 17, like no issues, like barring a slight 2 game period.
See, I
And
don't love those fixtures. Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Fulham. There was one more in there that I didn't like, and
well, I mean,
Forest. Like,
agreed, but I just bench him then, like I did against Spurs, right?
Sure.
Like I think that there's enough fixtures consistently when he's performing consistently enough for now to where like I'll
Yeah.
play him against Brighton, then I can play him against Leeds and Fulham, depending on how Crystal Palace shakes out because they a really thin squad. Maybe, maybe not. Just kind of rotate him in and out. But I think he's a great cover option. He's not that expensive. And then if someone like Sar starts popping off from Crystal Palace in the next couple of weeks, then I can just drop him down. So I feel like he's at least a good hold for me for now, just to facilitate other moves if the Bournemouth magic doesn't keep going. But yeah, nice to see João Pedro continuing to just get some goals. It was a bit of a bummer that Enzo stepped up for that
Fucking
penalty. I was
killed
like,
me.
what is up with
Yeah.
that? Like,
Dude, Luke's text during that time were, I mean, we were just on the opposite ends of the emotional spectrum
I was on the
that
fucking
entire
highs and
time.
lows of that shit. Oh my God. Just watching every, and he's getting a ton of chances. So like
yeah,
watching every time he touches the ball, I'm terrified. His ownership is unbelievable. And I have no way to get to him. The only way I could get to him is Chris Wood, and like I can't sell Chris Wood ahead of the fixtures he has coming up. Like I just can't. And so I'm fucked. I'm just stuck. I have
well,
Holland, I have him, and I have Watkins. I don't think I can make my way to him, but anytime he scores, I mean I think his goal dropped me a full million. I think I texted you guys that in rank.
yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean, is it
yeah,
really worth holding on to Watkins over him?
I think so. Yeah, I
Okay.
just don't. I think rolling. I think if I could do it for free, maybe. But I think the fixtures. The reason why is I genuinely think that Watkins could be my captain in game week 5 or 7. There's really not great fixtures for a lot of other players. I think Holland plays Arsenal. Let's see, Salah plays. Oh,
I can
Salah
tell
plays
you.
Everton. So most
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
will captain Salah. So in order to go against that, I have to have somebody with a good fixture, and it's pretty much just him.
But Everton have been pretty
Um,
stout defensively, so it's like not a bad shout. But yeah,
Everton are interesting. I mean, shout out to my boy KDH for returning
it's crazy.
on the
I
bench,
Listen,
but
listen, you're welcome.
yeah,
This
Sharp put some bad juju into the air, and KDH heard it and took that personal.
this
this is
world's a
another
simulation.
thing on that topic that I deserve to wear the plunger for because I was like Jack Grealish going to Everton doesn't move me at all a few weeks ago, and you know
He's been great.
he's not going to keep up
Yeah.
the pace because if he does, he'll have 70 assists by the end of the season, and the Prem record's like 20 or something like that. But it's nice to see Grealish just returning to form a little bit. Anyways, back to me because it's all about me. Salah, I'm like on. I captained him at like the last minute. I was delirious when I was moving and switched the captaincy to Bruno, and that was great
Ah, I
until
see.
like
That's the cop out.
literally
Yeah.
the last like second. I was like I don't even remember doing it is the weird part. Like at some point I did this and I woke up the next morning and I was like, oh, I've switched my captain. Let's go Salah. And that was a great decision again until like the last 3 minutes. Like if we could just cut off the last 10 minutes of every game this season, I would be like number one in the world. But we can't. And Bruno got the pen, and then Salah didn't do shit, which I didn't really expect. But you never know. That was just such a boring game. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then Mateta finally awarded my patience only on a penalty, and then went and got that yellow card. So a little annoying, but I've been holding him the entire season because I was like, these are good fixtures. The first three are going to be hard, and he's finally started to return. And then he's got Sunderland, West Ham the next couple, and I'm like, let's go. This is what I was waiting for. This is why I brought him in.
Don't
So
get me wrong, I'm hyped that he got a yellow, but I mean, what the fuck? Can we just let the boys play? He just kicked, if you didn't see it, he scored and he kicked the corner flag, and that was a yellow card.
right,
Come
and
on,
I mean
let him have fun.
Jamie Vardy breaks the corner flag as his goal celebration, and it's fine. So it's like, what are we doing here?
Poor
That
guy.
was tedious. And then decent playing bench. I was really big a couple weeks ago on like the Guehi. I don't need that last spot, but I kind of entered crisis mode earlier with some of my picks not panning out, and now I'm pretty happy with the rotation options I got. So a couple holes to fill, but high level, that's an overview of my team.
That worked out too, because he just got recalled back to Chelsea, so you're chilling.
So
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, I guess that's another
Yeah.
point pro João Pedro with
Yeah.
Liam Delap doing his hamstring in. They're trying to recall Nicholas Jackson. Palmer's out, probably returning after the international break. But like João Pedro stonks are rising with the Delap. Like that was the whole reason I didn't bring him initially, was just because of the minutes. And now that Delap's done, I mean, great. That's awesome
No,
for
that's what
me.
I'm
What
saying. I'm genuinely terrified of João Pedro. Like,
Yeah,
fuck.
I think it's good. I mean, the fixtures, like you said, do turn. So it's not like a lock. He's got Liverpool. I mean, Nottingham Forest, who won't be able to keep clean sheets until I transfer out their defenders. And then, Man United, I don't think should be a three. I think they should be like It's disrespectful to Sunderland that they're higher rated than them. But
I
who
was gonna
wants?
say some of those rankings again. I'm not sure I fully agree with United.
Yeah, I think you
Brighton,
just
I can
gotta.
totally see him return on Brighton too. Like
I'm
it's
actually
really
curious. Do they update those mid-season or are they just static? I've never
They
considered
do,
that.
but I mean, I think
it's
FPL
hard to
is
get to
historically
though.
rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
There are better sites for that kind of info.
for sure. All right, who's next?
I'll just go in order. Guy who came in second goes next.
Let's see it, vibes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again, I was certain you were the lock this week.
Dude, I felt so. I mean, that's kind of what I'm gonna say here is that I felt really good after the
Dude, the hit
first
paid
few
off.
games. It definitely paid off. Also, I don't know, Mac, do you mind not sharing anymore? There we go.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
sorry. In my move, my mouse seems to have gotten messed up, and now I have to double click to work. So
Oh, that's
my bad.
annoying. No, you're good. You're chilling. All right, let's get this out of here. All right, so we put up 54 as Luke alluded to, and I believe I mentioned last week I did take a hit for the second consecutive week at a nice -4. So this does finish out as 50 points. Uh, but not mad in the beginning, and it just turned into a very, I would say, week. I mean, that puts me just right above the average, so nothing crazy by any means. Um, but touching on, I mean, we kind of just alluded to how boring this game was between Arsenal and Liverpool. It was early season, two teams that expect to finish at least top three competing, don't want to give anything up. They were both playing really tight, really conservative. And it's like they almost shook hands and agreed to switch at half because Arsenal, I felt like, had all of the possession in the first half and didn't do anything. And then it was like, all right, our turn. We're going to hold the ball and kind of do something. And then Szoboszlai's just the GOAT. So that was pretty cool.
Dude, he's playing
Now,
sick in that right back role. I would not have thought that. He's pretty nasty.
well, he used to play it, right? I mean, obviously not his preferred position, but I love that he has the flexibility to do that with how crowded our midfield kind of became with Wirtz
Yeah,
coming over. So it's pretty sick that he can rotate in there and then just rip that at any point.
so tight.
Uh,
No, I think this is an interesting one with regards to how Arsenal approach this game because you just don't see many chances for them. And granted, no Saka is a huge loss, and I can't
yeah.
remember how many minutes Odegaard played, but he didn't play the full game. Um, I've seen like a lot of the models are really highly rating Gyökeres to come in over the next few weeks, and I just can't buy into Arsenal's attacking stock, especially in a game like this where I felt like they were like, all right, we are gonna disrupt play, clog everything up, and hold it down.
I would say
Um,
even in that United game, we didn't see anything too
yeah,
dissimilar after they
yeah,
scored their goal. And I know they're always set piece, gods,
merchants.
but yeah, sure, two different words for it. But without Saka, what was the stat? All of last season, they took four on the right side. They took four outswinging ones. And against Liverpool, they took six in one game. So they clearly had to switch something up, and that just makes me have less confidence in their set pieces,
Yeah,
even though I know that's how they scored against United. But to your point, I also don't feel the need to bring any Arsenal attacking assets in at the moment.
yeah. That being said, Eze at 7.5 will at some point be coming into my team. That's so sexy. I love that. I gasses me up.
As long as I see playing time, as soon as I see playing time from him, I should say,
Yeah.
once he's rotated in, then
Kind of weird that
yeah,
they chose not to use him, honestly.
I mean, he
they
came
subbed
in
him in
at
eventually,
yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you.
I think they just should have just gone with him from the beginning. Arsenal
yeah,
just it looked like so timid. It was weird.
boring ass game.
Boring ass game.
It
The
really
reason I
was.
capped Salah was because that game is usually fireworks. It just was not.
It was
Yeah, it's
basically UT Ohio State,
Yeah.
just garbage.
it literally was. No, they said what was the thing? It was 78 goals in their last 20 matches. So I mean, yeah, pretty safe to assume that there would be some goals, and clearly there were not. But that helped me out right here, baby. We love seeing this out of Van Dyke, finally showing why he can be worth 6 million at the back.
I mean, he's kind
No
of been this
DEFCONs though.
season, hasn't he? He's
Ironically,
been
no
pretty good,
DEF
right?
CON after he's gotten 20 and like 16.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
but that's because Arsenal was rarely in any attacking position. So give and take. On the flip side of it, since that goal did go in, Gabriel's points went down. But if it had to go one way, I'm not mad about that. I mean, we've already touched on how I think we all feel about Forrest, so gonna leave that there and say Milinkovic, he's the fixtures, but his clock could be it's being monitored at the moment. There's not a lot of patience on this team, so We've touched on Everton as well. I love you guys kind of gave me not too much shit, but there's a little shit that I got about having India at the start of the season in my
NDA.
first. That's how everyone gets pronounced. However, I read
You
it.
got to
That's how
sign
it's
your
gonna be.
NDA before you get into this team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, but he's returned the last 2 weeks. I'm pretty happy with him. Obviously, Grealish I think is the number one asset to own, but he's been pretty solid, and I've been pretty
Whoa,
happy with
whoa,
I
him.
think
whoa.
Grealish
We
has been
talking shit about KDH?
the facilitator
Shut up.
to Ndai. Like I think
Yeah.
I was low on the Everton assets because I didn't see them really creating a lot of chances, and then they bring in Grealish, and who's like a maverick, likes to be a big fish in a small pond, and he has been enjoying that role.
Well, not only that, but I mean, granted, we saw Moyes in the second half of last season, but you have, I think my perception going in and my bias of why not to go with Everton attackers is because I thought of classic Sean Dyche Everton, where it's like very defensive minded and then attack is second. But suddenly it's like, yeah, they've brought in all these guys. They have Dewsbury Hall, they have Grealish, they have Nye, they have a lot of attacking players, and they even just brought in Dibbling from Southampton. So like they have a lot of guys who can rotate in, and I think they're genuinely trending towards being a more attacking team. Their defensive numbers haven't actually been that solid, despite keeping a few clean sheets in the last few weeks. So for my team, that worries the fuck out of me seeing Liverpool come up next week, and they could just absolutely go nuts on these guys. But no, yeah, hand up, I was wrong on this, and I was on the business or the benefit end of it this weekend. But no, I think Ndai looks like a great pick. It was a complete blind spot for me all preseason. I was seeing a lot of people go for him, and I was like, ah, fuck that. But no, props, great pick.
Thank you, thank you. Pat myself in the back a little bit here. We already touched on Salah. I mean, it is what it is. I
Okay, but are you guys worried though? Like, when are
no.
you guys worried? I would be worried.
I mean, I'm not worried with Burnley
Why?
next. Like, I am worried in general, but I don't. I picked Salah because of the opening run, so I'm just gonna stay the course on him and then reevaluate in a little while.
He hasn't been doing shit. Like, genuinely, he hasn't done shit. Like, that's why I would be worried if I was a Salah owner. Seriously, I'm gonna bring him
So
in this week, obviously, but I would be worried.
Well, I mean, I would be worried, but if you didn't have Burnley and Everton next, but I've always
Sure.
said that my plan, it's so team specific is the thing. Like my plan was always to keep him through five, six, seven, somewhere in there, right? Because then it's Chelsea, Man United, Brentford, Villa, City, Forest, and then you want him back for 13. So should I be worried? Maybe. I don't think he's been as involved this season, but I also don't think Liverpool are like as cohesive as they're going to end up.
Yeah.
yeah, again, there's a lot of
Give him
moving
time to cook.
pieces. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of moving pieces in the attack right now across the board. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit more, but I stand by. I'm not scared of United's defense specifically, so therefore not scared of Salah. I'm not scared of Villa's defense right now. Again, they could get better, but to be honest, I don't really plan on ever getting rid of him.
No,
Uh,
I'm not like worried about Liverpool from an attacking perspective. I'm just like clearly right now the ball is not going to Salah as much as it normally does.
as well, sure, but as much as it normally did was 95% of the time because it was
Exactly.
Trent to him. And
And
I'm
that's why
so
he's 14.5 million. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I get it, but I'm not worried. A goal and assist, a clean sheet against not terrible competition. I'm
yeah.
not too worried yet. We'll see what happens. Could be proven wrong, but we'll see. Kudus, I mean, he was there, so that was cool. That's
He
what I got
played.
on him. Yeah,
Participation medal.
it's not like I had anyone better to put in, so it's fine. Um, and then this is where we get to the hit finally paying off. I mean, I guess we can say that the only person on the wrong side of this was
Rip.
shockingly our winner. Imagine if you had picked
No.
correctly.
I have a whole thing on United. I'm just gonna get into it because I need to get this off my chest. The Bumo goal hurt so much. The Bruno Fernandes goal was just like a fuck you. That was just like kicking me while I'm down.
That was
But
me
like,
finally getting rewarded for my faith.
yeah, yeah, that hurt. But I cannot tell you guys how much of my brain this decision took up all week. So I obviously went Cunha, could have gone Bumo, and I really, really, really thought about it between those two. I went from Wirtz to one of them, so that's all I could afford. And oh boy, was it tough because my thought process at one point was from the get-go, I was like, Cunha looks so good. Like, I think he just has the capability to score a lot. And then after watching the Grimsby game, seeing Cunha play 90 minutes, seeing Bumo score, and just be like, you know what? Bumo has so many routes to points. He's got corners, he's got set pieces, he's got all this stuff. Like, and I can't be positive of Cunha's minutes with Sesko coming in and like all this rotation potentially, and what position is he going to play, what have you. So I was fully on Bumo, and then it came down to it, and I just was like, I gotta go with my gut on this one. I think Cunha could score. Obviously, you get unlucky with him getting injured, but I kind of think that's not unlucky. I've seen how much he's been sprinting in every game, and he played 90 minutes midweek. Like, I did think about that, but my thought process was, well, he has the international break. He'll get some rest. He'll come back. I'm not really too worried. I'm willing to risk it. And I'm just pissed at myself because I'm like, damn, I really could have done that. And then, sure enough, like the United guys go off, they score. I think if Cunha was there, he probably would have had some sort of return, but. God, just I was gut wrenched on that one. So yeah, props to you for going Bumo, and now I'm a little fucked for potentially game week 5. We're in
Well,
we're in dire straits.
it sounds like you went on vibes, and that was foolish when
I
the
went
other
on
guy was
vibes,
in
yeah,
Vibes
facts.
FC.
No, it,
So
it is also funny that everyone was right about United except me, right? So you were right to go Bumo, Sharp. We were right to think, hey, United are going to score this week. Let's go attack those fixtures. But Mac
yeah.
was right that United are fucking shit. Like
Well,
everybody was right on
I
this.
was only 50% right because I didn't captain Bruno. But
Sure, sure. But you
mm,
had him. Hey, we didn't have him.
yeah, I did
Man,
have him, but I am right that United is shit. I just want to say that it's
100%.
nice to see you have this struggle after declaring so boldly that you were going to follow Manchester United this season. I was like, this is retribution for choosing to follow
Oh, come on. You
that
can't
headache
tell
of
me
a
that it's
team.
not still electric to watch. They are a fucking
Losing to Grimsby is electric.
no, but they're
Do we
they
know what
are a
that word
reality
means?
TV show. Like that's the beauty of Manchester United. They're a reality TV show. It's the Dallas Cowboys, baby. Like Micah
what
Parsons goes to Green Bay. I love the drama. They get all these high profile names, bunch of prima donnas and Cunha and Bumo, bring them in, see what happens. Like, yeah, it's exciting, baby. I love it. I love it. I love the drama.
what
Hope.
I love about them is that we are not them. That's
Yeah,
my favorite thing about United.
no, to actually
And
be a fan who gives a shit would be
yeah,
really hard. Like that would
yeah.
suck.
God,
Well,
yeah,
I have
I just hate them because they have history. Like I don't have anything personally against them, but I really feel for those faithfuls. Like, oof.
It's got to be tough.
yeah, I have my good friend from home is a huge United fan. And so I cannot tell you how fun it is to text him, feel the burn multiple times after Burnley puts a few in. That
My
was
United is
awesome.
like that. Uh, I don't like they're Wisconsin sports. It's like there's this like Wisconsin this meme that goes around the Wisconsin sports fan base, which is like a triangle with arrows, and it's like we're so back. Oh shit, everything's everything's burning, and it's just them every season. Fire a manager, sign new players. It doesn't
Yeah, get
work.
hyped up. We're
Like
so back, and
get
then
hyped up. We'll spend two
we're
hundred
so
million
fucked.
dollars, and it still won't work because we have no cohesion. I love it. I love it.
Honestly, though, like FPL wise, I still think I'm not worried. Like I'm not worried attacking wise. I wouldn't ever buy into their defense right now, and that's clear. But as a Bruno owner, are you worried? As a Bumo owner, are you worried? Like if
I
I were you
mean,
guys, I'd be like, I'm chilling, baby.
as a
This is great.
Bruno owner, I'm definitely worried. It's City, Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, Liverpool in the next five. So that's not great. And one lucky pen from Bruno, that doesn't happen. Then Bruno has his like what third blank in 3 games.
But he's gotten 2 pens in 3 weeks. Like,
To be fair, all of them would have had their third blank because their only goal before this, and inclusive of their first goal in this game, were own goals.
Yeah, I was trying to look at the top stats to see if you were right in your Cunha thing while
oh,
you were
I
talking.
wasn't.
Well, I
Shocker.
don't think that you were that far off because Cunha has the most shots per 90, most shots on target per 90. And keep in mind with this is with a small sample size and him being injured for 1/3 of that sample size. So like Cunha was getting a ton of shots and he might have gone off, but like the Bruno stats aren't that good. Like Bruno's winning most long balls. It's like great. Do we get fantasy points for long balls? No.
But if
Like
Cunha is out for a while, like he did when Cunha came out of this game, you did see him push up the field significantly. He
so
was really involved in this one.
I'm really hoping for like a João Pedro with Palmer out situation where Bruno gets a more central role and gets to play like more Mr. United like we know and love. But I'm worried about like the realism of returns because you know it's a long season. United can get it together later on in the season, but are they going to get it together in the next 5 game weeks? I don't know. I don't know. So I'm pretty worried about that.
Fair.
I think one of the reasons I'm not worried, and we can go into a little bit of that, because I'm not 100% sold on the action this week, but is free hitting. So then if I do take that free hit
Sharp.
in game week 4, I don't have to
Yes.
worry about City. So
Gooble
all I
gobble, one
have
of us. Gooble gobble, one of us.
But then that takes out obviously a big concern. You still have Liverpool in 8, but if I can get past Liverpool, Brighton, again, I'm not scared of Forest as much as we were to start the season. It's just like they're not terrible fixtures, and he's a fine piece to have for a long time without him really being a huge problem, I hope. Especially if he gets a little more opportunity as well. He's not going to benefit as much as others, but we'll see.
I mean, I think he could be Mr. Consistent in this United attack. If they're a middling team with a
Yeah.
middling attack, like I said, he's got the roots to points. Cunha for me was always the thought process here for me was getting a Man United mid for a short term. I think if I was going long term, I would have almost certainly just gone Bumo because he's gonna I think you can hold him for a long time and he's just gonna be a consistent asset.
Yeah, shockingly, based on how I've made decisions to start the year, that kind of was the thought process. And I think a big thing I said was the consistency of those
Yeah,
corners and the routes to get in there. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Uh
We've already touched on João Pedro, but obviously I took the hit last week to get him and João in. So that was pretty sick. Pretty
yeah,
happy
you
to
netted
see.
like 20 points or something crazy.
Yeah, it was perfect. I was awesome. I loved it.
What I've always said about hits, it's like some people are so scared of hits, but it's like they're only bad if you lose points in the aggregate, which you didn't. So you made a smart hit and it paid off, and I think you could keep those
Facts.
guys for a couple weeks. So it's like
Yeah.
I just generally on hit strategy, it's fine to do.
But touching on the other side of that, my hit into game week 2 has been a swift kick in the dick. I mean, specifically to the wood, I should say. But man, that I regret that captaincy. I thought I was so smart last week. I was pretty hyped about it. I have been on the West Ham is getting relegated, probably 20th place train the entire time I've been watching them play this season. And to see that their odds were only plus 150 to get relegated, I almost hammered that this weekend. Really glad I didn't do that. And then really sad that's how they came out. And I'm not mad about Chris Wood, and he's honestly something that's going to paint me into that free hit for corner, because of him playing Arsenal next week. So I just think that hit wasn't as lucrative, obviously, as the second one, especially with Bowen returning this week. So screw that guy as well. So even if that free hit in game week 2, or the hit I did take in game week 2 wasn't the best, honestly, the person I'm most disappointed in this team at this current time after transferring out the other fellows I've talked about is Ollie Watkins. Definitely expected more out of him. Made the mistake I made with Wood this week, last week, in game week 2, captaining him there. So I'm hoping to see something better. I'm kind of with Mac overall that I'm not gonna necessarily rush to get him out of here, but his patience, mine are wearing thin with him, and we'll see how I can get someone else in there, what I'm gonna save up for. So that's my take. My take on the team, and we'll see what happens next week.
God, I was gonna say, could we see the rare roll out of Sharp? But sounds like maybe you're thinking about a free hit.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the only reason that we're gonna get a roll, because I believe it does, is my free hit that I'm gonna possibly take next week. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But you've been in my ear all week,
Oh my
so
God, I love it. I love it. I love being a bad influence. All right, jump into my team really quick. So same as you guys, Sanchez in goal. Uh, good on Chelsea. Chris Richards finally came in and put up. Is it Chris Richards? What's his name? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Chris Richards. He's our
Put up
American
eight
brother.
points. Yeah, he's our American brother. Yeah, he put up 8 points. Hell yeah. Yeah, seeing the Arsenal clean sheet wipe was brutal. Murillo, same as you guys. Pedro Porro. Um, yeah, I think if I was doing it again right now, I probably wouldn't go with Pedro Porro just because I the attacking threat hasn't quite been there. But I mean, his fixtures coming up are so great that if he was going to return from an attacking side of things, it's going to be over the next few weeks.
Well,
So,
and he's had hard fixtures and he's gone 6 points, 5 points,
yep,
4 points. So he's
yep.
done what we need him to do, as far
Yep,
as I'm concerned.
100%. It's just
I
wild that those points are coming from clean sheets and def cons. That is not what I expected.
Well, I think it's starting to prove that theory that Spurs are a little more defensively solid this season, at
Seriously.
least.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, he is one of the guys I'm targeting next week. That's for sure.
Hell yeah. Reinders, I'm so the roller coaster of Reinders, right? Like I was never as high up as people were after week one, but I'm also not as low as maybe some people are now. Like I think he's just going to be consistent. He's been playing a lot of minutes. I think Turkey's injured, so I feel like his minutes are more guaranteed.
Turkey's out for a couple months too. It's big
Yeah.
injury.
So like yeah, I'm still just hyped to have like a cheap asset that's playing for a top team. I think he's going to be great. I'm not really worried about it. Cunha, I want to kill myself, tall ledges and whatnot. It's this works out though. So why I kept Palmer and why maybe this Cunha thing isn't the end of the world is because I'm free hitting in four. They have that much more time to get healthy. I have seen absolutely nothing on how long people think Cunha is going to be out. It, in theory, looked like it was a hamstring. Um, and it feels like most of the time with a hamstring, it's generally pretty long, but maybe he'll be back. I'm fucking
He
praying.
did walk out without crutches and unassisted, and that means nothing, but it's at least like not an ACL tear or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's great.
Wait,
KDH, yeah,
sorry.
go ahead.
Before I just wanted to hold off on you rubbing that in my face for just a moment longer, if we could. Has anyone said anything on Saliba? So that made me think because we didn't really touch on that because he went down 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
does
anything. I
anyone
haven't
know
really
the extent of
looked.
that? I haven't even
No,
looked
I
it
just heard he
up.
was injured during warm-up. I didn't see anything more. And like obviously because I don't own him, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But if
Yeah,
anything, it makes Mascara potentially an FPL asset. I think he's five
yeah,
and a half or 5.4 or something. So
yeah. That's who came
maybe
in for him. But I also wonder if that's going to help or hurt Gabriel because I have to imagine he's going to take on more DEF CON opportunities just because he's
maybe.
going to be like a Van Dijk where you're the only center back that can clear the ball. But or if it hurts him and their whole defense becomes a little weaker, I mean, it'll be interesting.
But it is interesting injuries right now because you have the international break. You can see
Yeah.
potentially a lot of these guys coming back and having the time to come back. So yeah, it's that's why like we're planning on doing a little free hit special next week to talk through a little bit more of our plans and get some of this stuff hammered down. And part of that is because of so much that could happen with injuries, international break, all that kind of stuff that shakes out from the transfer market and seeing who's going to start and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, moving through the team, KDH. This one's hype for me just from a like budget perspective. So, I talked to you guys about feeling like, maybe I'm relying too much on budget guys, but suddenly between him and Reinders, I'm feeling pretty good. Everton's fixtures, I don't think are very good coming up. So you got Villa, Liverpool, West Ham, Crystal Palace, City.
They have
Yeah,
a
they're
really
not.
hard next five.
Yeah, they're not ideal. So, maybe he's a rotation, but I know for sure in game week five when I'm going to need him, he's playing Liverpool, so that's going to be fucking brutal. But he is my dog, I've decided. Ollie Watkins, I'm holding the faith. I thought he had a couple nice chances. Villa do look like shit, but they did just get Jadon Sancho and Harvey Elliott, who could be, a couple of, it looks like they were really light on the wing. So hopefully those guys help out. I'm not sure how quickly they come into the lineup. But again, free hit four, I don't need that to be right away. Erling Haaland, should have captained him. What the fuck was I doing? I went the same way as you, Sharp, and honestly, this was also a vibes play. I genuinely, I was such a toss up between these two that it came down to who am I going to be more mad at myself if they return and I didn't captain them, and that was Chris Wood for me because I felt like going into this week with West Ham, I was like, I'm not only am I sure that Forrest is going to score, I'm sure that Forrest is going to score more than one, and if Forrest are going to score, I'm so sure that it's going to be Chris Wood that's going to be a part of that to some extent, same way Holland is with City. Um, so I'm not really mad at myself for this one because it's like, who saw West Ham getting their shit together? Who saw West Ham keeping a clean sheet and beating Forest 3-0? Like,
Just
I'm
didn't
not
make
too
any
mad about
sense.
that.
It was
No.
like, is this a fluke or is this like West Ham's putting it together? And I feel more confident that it was a fluke than anything else because they were
Yeah.
just so abysmal in the first two. I just don't know how they turned it around like that.
I am like Forest is a really curious one. One because you have the manager maybe leaving. Two because it seems like they're trying to add more offensive depth and be more of an attacking team. And I'm just curious to see how that's going to work for them. Holland I'm super happy with Holland. Again, just he could have had more. Like so everything flows through him. Um, I'm just not worried. And then Palmer on the bench. Hopefully he's back. But again, I can wait till game week five. So if Cunha or Palmer is not back in game week five, I'm a little fucked. Not gonna lie. So that's a whole thing for the transfer plans. But yeah, overall, again, like you guys said, we're all hovering around average. it feels like such a weird start to the season where no one's making like huge gains.
Yeah,
But
normally like this part of the season, you're like, oh, I've gotten 100 points. People are popping off. This season's like everything's burning. Everyone's wild carding like game week
no one's
three. Like,
returning.
what's up
Like
with this season so
people
far?
are wild carding right now to bring in players who are like 5 million,
Yeah,
to
like
6 million, and being like, yeah, he's returned twice in a row, so
the
I guess I
best
got to get him
forwards
in.
are like 5.5 mil mids, and the best defenders are like 4.5 mil defenders. It's just like this is weird.
Yeah. But no, it does suck because on paper this team should have been sick. You have like all these matchups were so good for all these guys, and it just didn't quite take, but we live, we move. Um, so yeah, but I am feeling the win, you know. I didn't have to rock the banana head this week. That's pretty fucking hype.
It's so annoying that we institute this and then we're within 3 points of each other, 51 to
I
48.
know. Well, that's what I'm
That's
saying. I did not see this coming. Like,
And I was feeling so good. I was like, this is my week. I got the Bruno pen. I got the double clean sheet. I was obviously tweeting like crazy. It was like instant retribution for
I'm
tweeting
like
at
Mo
you guys that
Salah,
Chris
just
Wood
coming
got
through
subbed.
in the last minute, you know,
Or
like
even if I just
just like
have
Mo.
the guts to
dude,
captain Bruno, like, well, if I captain Bruno, then he wouldn't have got the pen. That's just the way this game works. So,
facts.
All right. So one thing we haven't touched on yet is transfer window. Liverpool splashing. And I know you were pissed off about not getting Gahey, but I'm like, you know what? Cry me a fucking river because you got everybody else. So, yeah, I
yeah,
mean, what do you think about Isak
that's,
coming
oh,
in?
it's so
Like,
annoying. I hate you guys. I'm jealous.
I mean, obviously pumped about it. I am more pumped. It's I really grew to like Ekitike, so it's
dude, me
sad to
too.
know that he won't be playing
Nice
nearly as
knowing
much.
you.
Yeah, right. Like, so from that, I'm like, man, I feel for that guy. I'm a little sad about it. But then on the other hand, we got Isak, so that's pretty fucking sick, and feel really confident in our attack going forward. It will be super interesting to look at him from an FPL perspective. He obviously already dropped on the season, so he's at 10.4.
Yep.
Which is great with still 2 mil, 1.7 I think now more expensive than what Ekatike is. So it's kind of sad if you have Ekatike, you're probably gonna have to make that transfer at some point. But I am another reason I'm excited for this international break to be when it is to see how he comes to life and how I expect him to be played versus the two and see what kind of minutes each get.
Well, the
Uh,
ramifications of this are just so scary from an FPL perspective
Oh,
too,
it's
because
fucked.
this is like worst case scenario for Liverpool asset owners because it's like if you own Gakpo, all of a sudden it's
yeah,
a minutes risk. If you own Verts, you're like, I mean, it doesn't change much about him, but there's
It
potential for
might.
other players to drop into that position if he's not putting it together. If you own Ekatike and you jumped on him at after game week two, it's like, all right, holy shit, now we have Monster Boy Isak, and they paid so much that
he
they're gonna
can't
have
not
to play
play.
him, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, so does someone play on the left now? Like who's Gakpo's coverage? We just don't know how good
Yeah.
Isak's gonna go. And if you jump on Isak, it's like, is he gonna start? We don't know that either. It's like, holy moly, this is a headache.
Not to mention, once you get Frimpong back and you have Szoboszlai coming back into the
Right.
midfield, it's like you actually have too many midfielders. So somebody's got to sit on the bench. And right now, the way they're playing, like maybe it's Wirtz, but he's also to the point of how much money you spent on him. Like you're probably not going to bench him, but maybe he plays out left. Like yeah, it's
If
fucked.
we did not spend as much money as we did on him, that dude wouldn't see the pitch. That's the sad part
Yeah,
about it is, I mean, he completed his first dribble, I think, this weekend, 3 games in.
there's no way that's right, but he's been very not involved. I will say actually, like maybe it's just because I'm watching him when I own him, and then I'm watching him when I don't own him, and so I'm having this bias. But like the set pieces and stuff, like I just a return is coming for him. I can see it, and I got rid of him, and so I'm just gonna let that be. But I mean, he could have gotten something this weekend, and I was like, God damn it. But anyway,
He
I think
may get an assist at some point.
yeah,
That's
you just
about
got to
all I
be
got.
careful
exactly.
with Verts that keep in mind we're looking at this from a fantasy lens, and it doesn't mean he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing from the team's perspective. It's just like, is that going to contribute to points? We don't know. He's still betting in. He's coming from Germany. Like the Leverkusen team was a high functioning team, and now he's playing on a totally new system. So it's like you just got to be worried with Verts that if they do suddenly put it together, because that entire team doesn't look cohesive. Like maybe
Right.
having Isak in is the mystery piece that unlocks the Verts potential, right? So it's like we can't write him off completely. That being said, get rid of him if you have him right now. It's not. doing it for fantasy for 8.5
I mean,
mil.
you're not going
But
to get rid of him right now. You've Burnley and Everton, but I do get
no,
your
Yeah.
get
point.
rid of him right now. It's better for me personally.
I mean, to be honest, not to belabor this point, but even from a fan perspective, I'm not thrilled with him or how
Yeah.
he's played. He does not look good at all. And you
Hey,
also have
you can talk
to,
about his performance without insulting how he looks, man.
well, he shouldn't be so ugly then either. Uh, no, I think when Frimpong comes back, and then you have to put Soboslai back up there. That's the other thing you kind of have to consider is who you're comparing him to and who could play there instead of him. And that's why I don't think I want him in.
By the way, on random aside, my every season I have like a guy who I'm like, is this guy's not good for fantasy, but he's a baller. Salvasai is right now my leading
Uh,
contender. Last year was Damsgaard. That guy's so good. I was looking up some of his free kicks. Oh my god, he's
yeah,
that's like the one he scored this weekend isn't even his best free kick.
it
Yeah,
was
I saw that one at
gorgeous.
the international one against Hungary. That was
Oh my
sick.
god. Oh yeah. Also, aside to the aside, he hates Hungary. Very funny.
Love it. So
Or is it
Sharp on
Turkey? Is he
Isak,
Hungarian? Sorry,
he's one of those two.
I thought it was.
On Isak, do you think that he comes in and plays next week? I think that's like the real question. He hasn't played any games. He's obviously been training without the team at Newcastle, and
Are
that's
you asking?
particularly pertinent for someone on free hit.
I was gonna say you're asking for game week 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I think because you have the break in there that he is at least going to play. Does he come in and start?
Right.
I feel like you kind of have to start him, and then you bring Ekatike in if he doesn't play,
Yeah.
perform, right?
Yeah.
So to me, yes, he's definitely a minutes risk until I get proven otherwise. Because I just think there's too many pieces that he could get subbed off occasionally.
This is also why like I'm on free hit no matter what. I committed to
Yeah.
this preseason, so I'm stuck. But like from whether or not you should perspective, it makes me wonder with the Liverpool picks of trying to figure out who's going to play this next week. Maybe it's easy. Maybe because Isak is probably not going to start, it's the same as it has been and it's actually easy. But I could also see it being like you bring in Cody Gakpo and then he doesn't start, or you bring
Yeah.
in Ekitike and he gets subbed off at half, or you know what I mean? So like it actually could end up being a little bit of a bitch.
Dude, my
Um,
problem holding Salah in this draft and free hitting, and what I found in playing around with the possibility of it, is that I can't spend all my money. And I don't know who to put it forward. Like I
oh,
end up
see, I'm
with
the opposite, man. I feel like forward is
it's
unbelievable.
because do you have Holland in yours?
No, but even if you
Oh,
don't,
okay.
anyway, we'll touch on this more when we get to our teams and as well as
Yeah,
in the free hit special. But no, I
that's
think the
fair.
free hit stuff is super interesting. Um, Mac, let's come over to Spurs a little bit with
yeah.
I know we touched on it very briefly with Xavi Simmons, but how do you see this team shaping up? They are top of the fixture ticker for the next 5 weeks. Is there anybody that you're looking to bring in from Spurs, or should we be looking to bring
Uh,
in?
I don't know. I mean, I think Kudus is a hold if you have him because of the West Ham Wolves leads. The fear that I have with Spurs and kind of what we saw with the Bournemouth team was that, like, keep in mind, Bournemouth is a really good team and I respect them a lot, but like they defend like a bad team, not like they're bad defenders, but they defend like a team in the sense that they play like a low to mid block. And like Spurs, I think I was saying at the beginning of the season, are going to have trouble breaking that down because of the Madison injury. And like we were playing Sar, who's an eight, as our 10. And then our backup is Bergvall, who's an eight. And then we had Bentancur, who's an eight, all trying to shoe them into tens. Now we brought in Xavi Simmons, who's like an actual 10, but he's like a really good counter attacker, right? Like I think he's great when he can run at somebody versus, and he's like a creative passer versus running into a wall, which I foresee the next basically 5 games for Spurs being. So is he going to put up assists? Probably, because I think everything's going to go through him. Um, but I mean, that's just something to caution yourself about against with picking him up immediately. Is it's just like it's just if teams are low blocking, we just don't know how good he's going to be right on the trot for just
Yeah.
breaking down those low blocks, which is what we're probably going to face within the next couple weeks. For Charleston's good. I'd still pick him up, especially because it sounds like Solanke's going to be out for a while. He might
Yep.
need surgery, but then we did just pick up Kolomuani, who on paper is like a pretty good career. He was playing in the World Cup final a couple of years ago for France. So it's like, if he hits the ground running, then maybe Richarlison gets rotated out again, although I don't see that being a real possibility. So it's like if you're struggling for a forward, I would probably target Richarlison in the short term.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately this didn't quite provide the clarity that we expected coming out of the transfer window with Spurs. I think that I thought like if we had gotten like a Savino and an Eze, then it's like all right, the Spurs team is locked, right?
Yeah.
Like, but now it's not. So
Well, to that point and to the forwards point for the free hit sharp, that's Richarlison is somebody who's on my short list, like playing West Ham. Who knows if what
Oh,
West Ham's going to show up, but
dude, I mean, some of my problem is that I'm trying to get too many Tottenham players in for that free hit. Is because like I think I want them everywhere, but Richarlison, to my point of not spending money, is only 6.7. Like
yeah,
he's not expensive.
yeah, yeah,
well, I mean, when you're free hitting, you don't play for the spend your budget. It's you play for the most points in most upside in the week. And in that regard, I would absolutely hammer them. I'm just saying if you're not free
Yeah,
hitting and you're making transfers, I'd be cautious of Spurs players. And it's possible that they put up like 20 goals because these are I wouldn't say bad teams necessarily, but it's equally possible that they don't put up a ton of
how do
points the
you
yeah.
next couple weeks.
feel? Like understood from an offensive perspective, how do you feel about defenders, and would you target any of them? Like,
Yeah, I think the defenders are actually, if I was like looking to free hit this week or make some transfers, I would probably target defenders because the upside's there. I mean, Brighton's a pretty solid team, but West Ham put it
Who
together
knows?
last game, but who knows
Who
if
the
that's
fuck knows?
one data point does not equal a trend, right? And they could
yeah,
very easily regress and they only scored
I
all
think
of their
they'll
goals in the
munch.
last like 90 minutes, right?
I
Or
think
like
Spurs will absolutely munch on West Ham.
and keep in mind it's like a rivalry game. We do love getting up 3-0 on West Ham and then throwing away the lead. That's happened a couple times, so just you've been warned. But like I would really target the defenders because I think that's where we have the most stability. Like Pedro Porro, probably going to play. Um,
Yeah,
Jed Spence, probably going to play. Romero and Van de Ven, definitely going to play. So, like, in terms of consistency, that's where we're locked, right? Like, our backup for Van de Ven is Ben Davies, who's not going to play. And even if
yeah.
we do some defensive rotation, chances are they're going to play 3 out of 4 or 5, 4 out of 5 of these. So, you're going to get upside.
interesting. Crystal Palace continue to look fucking stellar defensively. And now they're keeping Gahey, so that's pretty hype.
That is pretty hyped for them because Glasner
Uh,
was going to quit if they didn't.
yeah. And on the free hit, Sharp, two Crystal Palace defenders is an absolute lock for me. Can't
Yeah,
can't get it
I
out.
have him and Mr. LaCroix himself.
Nice. I also think you got to be thinking about Munoz, as well as something I saw today that I don't know if it's substantiated or not, is that Ismail Sarr is going to be out for a while.
He's
Um,
yellow flag now.
yeah, so I mean, he went down at the end of the game, but it didn't look very bad. But then I saw something that he tore his quad or hamstring or something. Not sure if that's actually accurate, but that would suck. In general on the free hit, I feel like the mids are kind of to your point, Sharp, of being able to spend money. The mids are a little dry. Doesn't feel like there's a lot of players that I
Yeah.
want to end up bringing in. Um, anyway,
Well, that's what's getting me because I end up with Gakpo in there, and then I'm like, well, wait, I don't really want Gakpo in here. Why is he here? But then I'm like, oh, form and fixture, and it's like,
yeah.
I don't know what to do.
It does seem to be a confirmed grade 2 hamstring injury. For those of us who don't speak medical speak, it seems like it's 4 to 8 weeks. So
That's the
Thank you.
rumor. I don't know if that's actually confirmed though. So we'll
no,
see. We'll see.
they did an MRI. It is confirmed. Now he's gonna be out for a couple
Ah,
weeks.
shit. Well, brutal. So that makes that tougher. All right. Is there anybody else that you guys want to talk about from a targeting perspective? Fixtures, players, anybody you're looking
How
at
do
in
you
the short to
guys
long?
feel about the Bournemouth guys?
Oh, I
So,
want to
The
talk
same.
about them if we want to get in the transfer
yeah,
section. I have some thoughts actually.
I do think I'll start it off. I
this,
do think it's really funny the way that we're talking about Bournemouth now because think about pre-game week one when Liverpool were playing Bournemouth and the narrative was, oh, they've lost so many in defense. They're going to be so leaky. They're going to be shit. Bournemouth is shit. And now suddenly it's like they look pretty solid defensively. I think just props to Iriola for being a good coach, but
yeah.
they look pretty solid. And then it's people are on the Choo Choo Semenyo train. I still stand on
Well,
the fact that we haven't seen Clivert yet. And I will not be touching a Bournemouth attacker until we see Clivert.
okay, him, but what about Senesi too? Senesi,
Senesi.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's the DEFCON monster, baby.
We need a compilation of Sharp's pronunciations.
I love it.
No, no, we don't. I would be canceled because they would be bad.
No, just to sorry, I totally took us off rails though. Yes, and Essie has been amazing. Like I don't think it's unreasonable going into preseason to be like, Liverpool lost their entire back line. They're going to be an amazing. They might not be an amazing defense. Like that's not a hot take by any means. And I just think it goes to show that Iriola is a good coach and
Yeah,
like
what a
they have
baller.
a good functioning system within that club. And like they're kind of doing like a Brighton or a Brentford in recent years, where despite losing players, they're clearly a cohesive enough unit as a club to just continue. And it's like, great. So our worry was that they weren't going to be defensively solid. They look pretty defensively solid. They have decent fixtures. It's fine. Senesi's doing good. I was actually looking at him potentially as a transfer target this week. So
Yeah. I'm on the flip side of this one, but again, we've talked about I'm a Bournemouth hater,
no, but
so
like, yeah,
just got to keep up
why?
with that.
What specifically don't you like? Because when I look at this fixture ticker, I'm like, okay, Brighton might be hard. Newcastle's definitely going to be hard, especially if they have like Wissa or Woltermaid popping off. But then like Leeds and Fulham don't score. And by game week 8, Crystal Palace is going to be thin squad, Sar out, in the middle of their European competition. Like,
I like Crystal Palace defensively. I feel like they've shown us so far that they're pretty stout. I mean, maybe that'll
oh
change, but
yeah,
until I
100%.
see them
But
not be defensively stout,
But
I'm not going to bet
we're
on them
talking
being
about
bad.
getting Sinis.
Senesi, yeah, we're talking about
Yeah,
Bournemouth defenders. Like
that
Oh,
guy.
okay.
Come on, did you not catch that when I said it?
Senesi, everybody knows who that is.
Uh, yeah, I think from a DEFCON perspective, that's just a good pick. But yeah, I don't. Uh, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of love, but I think sure if you wanted to go for a Bournemouth defender, um, I would think in all of our cases, I can't imagine that a defender is a priority transfer for any of us.
I think it is for me because of the double Forest, but we
Yeah.
could we could talk
Okay.
about that when we get it
No,
up.
but I think that could make sense. Neko Williams down to Senesi,
Especially
Senesi.
just
Yeah.
so, should I just pull up my team? Should we just get into my transfers?
Yeah, jump it.
Because like I, I'm giving away all
Sharp
my
and I are
my
just going to talk
secrets.
free hit the rest of the time if we don't. So
Right. Okay. We live. So I've been tossing back and forth the idea of like, should I free hit at all? Because if I needed to pick a team for next week, this
no,
is
you're in a
something
great spot.
this is
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that I could reasonably play. I got Poro against West Ham, Leeds, Anderson Leeds, Sanchez Brentford, Salah Burnley, Tielemans Everton, and like I would have hoped to see more from the Villa boys. So I'm not convinced they'll return because Everton's been decent and they've been turgid, to throw out the SAT word of the day. Um, but then I got like Semenyo against Brighton. That should at least be a back and forth game. Semenyo likes open games. Brighton like to play fairly open. Obviously a worry is Fernandez against City, but then the front line's looking pretty good too. So I'm like, do I even need to free hit? So
I
on
think the question is, could you roll? I think you could honestly roll this team and just be
so
fine.
I think so too. What I'm wondering is there upside in me making a transfer this week or not? The main thing I have is, so you brought the reason we segued into this is because you're like, is a defender a priority transfer? And for me, it could be because they play Arsenal this week, which isn't great. And what I'm flipping back and forth on is it's like, all right, well, then do I want to transfer out my double Forest defense ahead of a Burnley Sunderland back to back? Like, maybe not. But on the flip side, it's like, if I do get rid of Neko Williams, who just like we discussed got some competition for his spot, I was looking very strongly at either a LaCroix for a
Yeah.
straight swap at 5 mil, no value lost against Sunderland,
Yeah.
followed by a West Ham, or I'm looking at potentially like a Senesi for like a long-term play who's just been really solid, giving me I could even, I have a couple thoughts, but if like I went to Senesi, for instance, got to 4.5 with his decent enough fixtures and then the variety in the defense, then potentially I could even drop out like a Tielemans for somebody. Now it's a bummer that Sar's injured because he would be the natural spot. And I'm like looking at these affordable mids, and I don't think I'll take a hit because of this. And like, because I think the Everton fixtures are turning, and I'm not going to make a transfer for like a Bournemouth mid, but I don't really want to go to the double Bournemouth midfield. But on just the topic of like transfers and is a defender a priority transfer for me, it could be simply just to preserve some of my team value and field a slightly better team for to cover this against this free hit that everybody's going to do when everyone's going to have Lacroix.
Yeah, I guess I understand your want to have a Palace defender, but unlike free hitters, like you're looking long term. If I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
if I was in your shoes and I was looking to make a defender transfer, I would almost just be inclined to bring in another Spurs guy. Like you could
yeah.
bring in Van de
It's
Ven, save the
Yeah.
same amount of money, but I definitely wouldn't be doing more than one transfer this week. Your team looks stellar. Like
no,
this
I
is very close to someone else's free hit team.
right. I'm not convinced. So just to be clear, there's probably a 0% chance I do take a hit because there's not enough upside for removing Tielemans, especially with the good
Yeah.
fixtures coming up. It's like not worth taking a -4. The only thing I am actually strongly considering is just getting in a LaCroix while the value is the same in the event that the Nottingham Forest defenders drop, because I've hemorrhaged points every single week on the fact that I am forced to field two Forest defenders and they're just not keeping the clean sheets. And if I keep them, we've established that we just don't think that the Forest defense has been as good this season. And we've established that the Sunderland, or excuse me, the Crystal Palace defense has been good this season. So I'm like, maybe I should just make that transfer now for the long term if it's something
I,
that I'm probably gonna do anyways. I don't know.
I don't hate the idea of keeping a Crystal Palace defender as a long-term hold just because I do think they're that good defensively. But
Yeah,
weren't you just the one saying that by game week 8 the wheels are gonna fall off for them?
no, that was for their attackers. I'm talking about the defense. When I'm saying that I think the wheels are going to fall off, I'm saying that they don't have a lot of rotation, and I'm just going to see the forwards getting
Yeah.
like starting to lag a little bit. Like even watching their games, they already look tired, and they have such a thin squad that I don't think those defenders are going to be rotated at all. But like Eduardo is going to have to come on for Mateta at some point, just so Mateta can breathe.
Eduardo.
And if like Mateta doesn't get subbed, you might have a Spurs situation where Crystal Palace starts seeing a ton of injuries, or like they're not
Yeah.
progressing the ball forward, or Mateta just can't score because he's just too tired. So
Well, if they do, like, I mean, this feeds into all just Palace talk, but if it's correct that Sarr is out for a long period of time, then you have Eze gone, Sarr gone. I heard the new guy they brought in is maybe also dealing with some sort of injury. So then a player like Mateta, you're like, who's giving him the ball? Like,
right, that's
seriously,
my big
how's it
concern.
progressing?
And
Yeah.
that was my concern when Eze left. That was before the Sarr injury. So like
Right.
my Mateta stocks are like real scary now.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate going with a Spurs defender, maybe even a Newcastle defender. I'm just looking at because I'm assuming you're still on that like wild card 13 horizon,
Yeah, I
somewhere in
think I
there.
want to push it as long as I can. The idea has been to like just bank as many transfers to get through the wild card eight if I can, like do like a five transfer week eight to hit the fixture swing and then do a 13 wild card.
Sure.
We'll see if that works out though.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I see you on the losing value with Nico Williams because if he gets benched this week or next week, like he's gonna drop like crazy. I don't hate that play, but at the same time, like this I feel like would be the week to play a Murillo, funny enough. I'm not scared of Arsenal's attacking threat right now, and this would be the week he'd get DEFCONs. So I
yeah,
think you could get away with rolling as well.
no, that's a fair point. I hadn't considered, to be honest. And like, do I want to transfer him out ahead of the Burnley Sunderland? It's just that we know both of these teams can score. And I'm so fearful of having to play the double forest defense because it just hasn't worked for me yet.
Yeah.
And I'm seriously starting to consider it more and more priority transfer. But I think this goes to the larger point. Let's switch over to you guys now. Is that I don't think that I really need to free hit. Like I think I'm going to
No.
come back after game week 4 wearing this hat because I didn't have all of the best possible upside players. But I think what I'm going to be banking on is trying to get that back later on in the season when I have another opportunity to free hit that no one's on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the team looks good. And I really think like looking at free hits when I've been building drafts, like your team is very close to those. So
Yeah, I that's kind of what I picked around. Like everyone who's free hitting for is trying to free hit into the team that I
yeah.
plan for. Like I was always saying, I'm playing for like the game weeks like 5 through 6 with this team, trying to save up transfers because this could be overreactionary. It could be stupid, but last season I went way too hard at the beginning, and I was like, this season I am being patient. So
Period.
that's the idea. We'll see if it works. It hasn't been so far. I'm last, but
Tides will turn at some point for you. But I do
hopefully.
like the Newcastle guy coming in there. I think that's been underrated. I think they haven't been talked about as much. So I think Luke, you suggested it,
Uh,
but
are
I'm heavily
okay.
considering them for
I guess
next week.
we haven't talked about them a lot. I guess I am scared about their fixtures mostly, unless I'm mistaking something. I don't
Over the
think they
next
have very
8, I'm
great
seeing them
fixtures.
at third on the ticker,
Really?
according to this site. So Wolves, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Forest, Brighton, Fulham, and I can even look at it. I think I can look at it from defense. Nope, got to pay for that. Um, yeah, they're not terrible. Um, what are the two after that?
I see them
West
like
Ham,
I see them
Brentford.
being great in like 13, but I'm scared of like I don't know. Are they getting DEF cons, I guess? Like Dan Burn, I guess, has gotten
Yeah,
11
I
DEF
don't
cons,
know. No,
12
that's
DEF
honestly
cons,
worth an
one against
investigation.
Leeds. I guess I just don't know enough about them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's not I guess that I'm actually out on them. I just haven't looked at them too much.
Uh,
I don't like. I think your head's in the right place of trying to get another defender. And I think, but I also think you could just as easily roll and save that transfer and use it
Well,
elsewhere.
and
Like
it
I,
feels
either way.
it the only reason I'm even considering this transfer this week is just because I've gotten punished by this Forest defense 3 times in a row now. And
Yeah,
it's like if they had been putting up clean sheets, it wouldn't even be a thought in my mind. It seems stupid to make a transfer before a Burnley Sunderland back to back.
yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about it. I might not make a transfer. It's just I kind of do want to cover that Sunderland fixture,
I
but
mean,
it's
I think once game week 6 passes, it's Operation Sell Forest. So you could definitely wait till then, but I also hear you on having double coverage is maybe a little extra. So
right.
I could see it either way.
It's the problem is with defenders is that because Forest is not going to get probably defcons in those fixtures if they don't clean sheet, my points are wiped completely.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's that's the fear is that they're so high risk, basically.
Yeah.
isn't it funny? I was kind of noticing that I feel like a lot of us are going back to the 3-4-3, even with these DEF CON points. Like we were all talking about big at the back to start the year,
Oh, you were talking
and
about being the back.
I've been kind of
hey,
ripping for at
hey,
the back. Like I think I was even thinking about on free hit going for at the back because there's so many defenders I like.
I know there are a lot of good defenders out there. That's
I
the
mean,
problem. It's because they are getting the points because no one is fucking scoring.
well,
It's wild.
that's been the weird part, right? It's like I still think, as Luke said, defcons are just hella frustrating. But yeah, the forwards have just not been it this year. All right,
I think
free
they're
hit
coming
boys,
around.
take it away. Let's see the opposite side of the coin.
I'm
Uh,
worried that I am gonna end up. I so want you to just make a peer pressure decision and come free hit with me, but I worry that I'm gonna have to end up convincing you not to free hit.
no, I don't know. You guys are gonna have to tell me your
I just
genuine
think Luke wants all
thoughts.
those points for himself. I'm not convinced that you've had my best interests at heart once this season.
You got me. You got me. Yeah, we're gonna see
Yeah,
the toilet plunger again.
I mean, it
And
looks so
we're
good
gonna
week
do that
in.
anyways if I don't free hit because I'm just not capitalizing on the upside. Like choose every player with a good fixture. This is guaranteed for next week.
All right, Sharp.
All right,
Give us the
so here's the squad. My main thought or reason for it off a gut reaction is obviously Chris Wood going against Arsenal. Bumo against City, don't love that either. And then Milinkovic against Arsenal. I feel like I certainly can't play him. Steve, I'm not gonna play. And Wan-Bissaka isn't even playing. So my defense then is kind of screwed. And it's not like I love anything here outside of Salah and Van Dijk.
Do you
I'm
want us to
definitely gonna
convince you
convince you.
to or to not?
Right. I'm definitely gonna convince you not to. Because okay, so Chris Wood, uh, two schools of thought. One, you could just bench him and play Reinders. Two, if Forest are going to score, which maybe they're not, but if they would, it'd probably be Chris Wood. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. Bumo against City, like we were just talking about how he has all these routes to points. City have not looked defensively awesome. Sure, they just got Donnarumma, so maybe he's kind of the shit, but like City have been pretty ass defensively. So I actually don't think that's like a the same picture that it was maybe a year or two ago. Um, so I wouldn't be like crazy worried about that. Otherwise, you have the coverage. Like you have the guys that are locks in my team. You have two Liverpool. You have Van Dijk and Salah. You have Gabriel against Forest. He would be a lock in my team or just about. You have a West Ham or a Tottenham player playing against West Ham. You have João Pedro against Brentford. Like you have all like there's it's not bad enough that I think you need to free hit. You could utilize this in 6 when City is playing Burnley. There ends up being a double game week at some point before 19. Like I think saving it probably is the play. That being said, come join the wagon. Let's fucking do it. Free hit 4. Come on.
So the only thing I'll say against saving it is that I might not do it, but I don't yet have a plan for when to do it, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be really looking at over the next couple weeks. Is like it's only good to save your free hit if you have a plan and a path to free hit next. Like team in a way so you're capitalizing on a game week by free hitting. And so if you're not going to go through with that plan, then maybe free hitting just to get out of the way is a good move. That's all I'll say.
So here's what you don't have in this that to Mac's point to capitalize on is the Crystal Palace coverage.
Yeah.
But with Sar being out, today seeing that was like a blow for me because I was like, damn, like is Palace just gonna kind of not be that great this weekend, right? You defensively, I'm still cool keeping their assets, but I do worry about like, yeah, where's the attack gonna come from? You're not missing out on like I wouldn't be so certain that Mateta's gonna do really well. I wouldn't be so certain that any of their other midfield. I don't even know who else I would go for. I think Kamada is also out, so like they're. I could be wrong on all that. Maybe these injuries are not as bad as they seem, and players will be back, and it'll be the same shit. But yeah, I feel like the only thing you're missing out on is Crystal Palace asset, and from that perspective, you could just do if you really wanted to do that, Milenkovic to like Lacroix or Munoz or something like that to get that coverage, and then you'd be good to go.
Yeah, my problem is I don't want to get rid of Milenkovic necessarily for all the reasons Mac
Sure.
discussed permanently, or for the next two
Yeah.
weeks, I should say, after what I wanted to do and had planned to do was just get rid of Wan-Bissaka. He was on FPL price changes literally the entire week saying tonight's going to be the
Yeah.
night, and he held on until right before the deadline. Because I went to do it Friday thinking it was like, the last 2 weeks we have a Friday game. We don't have a Friday game. I was like, and so I didn't take it then, but he was still 4.5. He
How
was
much
so
do you have in
close.
the bank right now?
None. I'm at zero. I
Oh,
needed I
he's
needed every
4.5.
bit of it. He's 4.4 now.
So, shit.
Shit.
So you can't just do a straight swap to Sensi then.
No, that's if I could do that in my defense, but keep Milenkovic, like I really probably wouldn't consider this as hard. I still don't love Bumo, but like you can get by with that.
See,
It's
but unless you have an injury, I do really think that these three defenders, like this is why the benefit of picking these three guys, of going for Van Dijk, Gabriel, and Milinkovic. You could play them every single week.
Yeah, you.
Seriously.
I think
yeah.
there's nothing
And there's no one
wrong
you can
with
go
your.
to with Juan
Yeah,
Bissaka.
there's nothing wrong with your defense in the sense that like it might be a bad week, but in the long term, I think you're just going to bank on getting more points, right? Like it's a fine
Yeah.
defense to just hold. Like I wouldn't burn transfers on any of those guys. Now your team is not struggling like mine, so I don't think there's anyone who immediately needs to come out either. It's just it's more of an upside question. I think it's like how much do you value the upside of the free hit this week?
It's once I started playing with it and seeing that I could
It's
get
so exciting.
it's so fun. And seeing that I could get triple on the teams that are just so bad. I'm still full target West Ham. I still don't think I know they did that, but I think that's so easy. I think Burnley is so easy. I think playing um Wolves this week is going to be so nice for a points perspective. And so that it is the upside question, but really it's more that it's just kind of fun.
I mean, I think I'm telling you all this stuff and being like, maybe you shouldn't. But Mac has a point as well. Like, it could be worth the upside. I just think that for me, like looking at my team and what I would have to field this week compared to your team and what you would have to field this week, you're going to still be competitive. You're going to be in and
Yeah.
around it, whereas my team would genuinely not be competitive this week. So
So
thinking forward
let's
for you into other weeks, like you probably have better opportunities, is my only point.
well, I think that's fair. But let's see what a true you have no choice but to free hit squad is made up
Yeah,
of.
let's see the need to
Well,
free hit.
I actually might show you guys first just what my game week 5 is going to look like because I think this is really where like the long-term stuff comes in. I'm in trouble in game week 5. So I still have Palmer and I still have Cunha and I need those guys to play because Reinders and Dewsbury Hall play Arsenal and Liverpool respectively. You have Arias who's playing Leeds, but he hasn't played a full game yet, so Eek. And this is like the lineup that I could field if Cunha and Palmer are both back, which is not a sure thing. Again, we've got 3 weeks, we got plenty of time for them to get healthy. But if either one of them is out, I'm kind of fucked. The team doesn't look great. Yes, you have the Nottingham Forest guys playing Burnley, but otherwise, and Chris Fisher's playing West Ham, but otherwise, this team looks not awesome. So I am a little nervous about that. Yeah. So anyway, that's game week 5. Game week four,
That is
free
tough
hit.
actually.
I'll give, yeah, I'm in a rough spot. So I may just have to get rid of Cunha. which would suck after all that. This is just a week where like, look, the fixtures aren't in my favor. Like Holland's playing Arsenal, Gabriel's playing Arsenal and City play each other, so that is what it is. I would probably captain Watkins against Sunderland. Having no Liverpool against Everton sucks. But outside of that, it is, if you're looking at the fixtures in game week 5, it is just one of those where not a lot of the best teams have great fixtures. You have Liverpool, Everton, but otherwise, I have the coverage where I feel like I need it. So it's not like the end of the world, end of the world. Anyway, Game week 4 free hit. Here's something I was looking at. So to Sharp's point, having Nick Pope in goal, Newcastle versus Wolves. I have Munoz and Lacroix. I think I actually would maybe switch this to Gahey. I need to do some looking. So actually, we can do that so that I'm under budget. Um, I may need to do some looking at between which Palace defenders now that he's staying. But I think double Palace defense is interesting to me. I don't know if I need Pedro Porro or Gabriel. One of those two I could get rid of, but I just worry about not having the Arsenal coverage in a week like this. You brought up a good point during the pod, Sharp, with Saliba being out and how maybe that would impact Arsenal defensively.
Wait, why would you, sorry, not to cut off your thought, but why would you have Gabriel in here over Van Dijk if you don't have a third Liverpool?
This is honestly not even my most recent one.
Oh, okay.
Now that I'm saying this, honestly, let's just look at my actual team because here's what we've got right now. Whoops. Hello.
Fantasy
Okay.
app is the worst.
Thanks, FPL. Jesus Christ. Um,
Man, you fan
I have
after doxing yourself.
I have let's see, 4 Liverpool in right now. So I brought in the guys who
I hate that. I hate that that's allowed.
this was part of it. That's why I hit
Oh,
the
did
free
you
hit
do
button
that last
already.
night? I was
I
looking at
did.
that.
I did. But I'll almost certainly have to get rid of them. I
You
should have what I should have
also,
done.
wait.
Wait,
You
you did this
also
last night
did
and then you're gonna
Gahey.
free hit?
Hold on.
No, this is
You,
free hit.
Oh,
This
that's your
isn't
free hit team.
transfers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Oh, I thought okay, sorry.
dude, you did Gahey too. You really went for all five. You thought you could pull that off?
No, it wasn't even. I did Gahey because I heard he was staying at Palace. I was like,
Okay.
sick. That's hype. Like I would have been less inclined to do him if he went to Pool. But funny thing is, I actually could maybe run with this if I had. I'm kicking myself that I had done Wirtz instead of one of Isak or Ekatike, because then I could, or I guess it would have had to be Ekatike. I don't think Isak's probably going to start, but I don't actually know. Like that's what's tricky about this. So I no, I will absolutely certainly have triple Liverpool. Here, I think I have a better like version of this in a different plan. Like
You just got
Ekatike, Wirtz, and Salah, and then you have the triple. So double Crystal Palace for sure. I don't know for sure if it's triple or not. I'll definitely have triple Liverpool. That's a must. Um, and then it's a question of how many Tottenham assets. I really like the upside of Richarlison. I really like not having to root against João Pedro for 1 week. Pedro Porro sounds great. I think the interesting question is whether I include something like a Palmer or a Holland. So there are two different structures that you could go through with that. Palmer playing Brentford, it's an option. We'll see how much he actually plays. And then Holland playing United, like with how shitty they've looked defensively, it's really tempting for me to just go with both of them. But again, I
Both?
think my issue comes with, yeah, with Holland and Salah.
Oh, Salah,
Um,
not Palmer. I was like, damn.
oh yeah, yeah, no. But so Salah for sure is a lock, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. This gets really tricky. I think like the more I think about structure and stuff, the less certain I get. I'm not really inclined to get a Newcastle attacker. I just put Barnes in here because it worked money wise. But I'm actually, you were saying you're like good on funds. I think yeah, I'm at point 0.5 in the bank. It gets tricky, man. Part of it's really going to come down to the certainty of that Liverpool attack. And it really worries me. So part of me is thinking, what if I just completely skipped out on Liverpool strikers, went with something like João Pedro, Richarlison, Holland, and then had like Salah, Gakpo, Wirtz. I probably wouldn't have the money to do all that, but like triple Arsenal midfield as opposed to having one of the strikers. I don't know. I could also do Van Dijk to your point in place of Gabriel, but I just Liverpool defensively, I'm not like super sold on, whereas I'm much more sold on an Arsenal defender. I don't need an Arsenal defender this week. I don't know. I'm all over the board. So that's where we're at.
You get
Sharp, you're
muted,
on mute,
Sharp.
buddy.
Thanks, forgot I pressed the button. I would still be more. I would say I'm still more confident in the Forest attack than the Burnley attack, though. I guess is my like flip side thought to it.
The Liverpool attack?
No, he's saying for clean sheet odds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fair. No, that's very fair.
I
So
think you
if you
I
were
would
going
have
three Liverpool sharp, who would they be?
Salah, Van Dijk, and that's where I couldn't go. I kept going back and forth between Isak and Ekitike, but I think it's
I'd
got to
probably
be
pick up
Isak.
Gakpo for the guaranteed minutes. You don't know if
But
Isak's going to play, and if you free hit
s-
on somebody who's not going to play, it's just a waste.
See, so this is where I think that's interesting. Like, let's play with that. Because, okay, so sure, I don't know if I want to go Van Dyke, honestly. But
I
we could
mean, Van
do,
Dijk has been a monster this season, to be honest.
yeah, the DEF cons, yeah.
Like it's a 4 point floor for him, basically. It's a return every other week in normal and for
Salah,
seasons gone by.
Gakpo. All right. I hear you. Fine. But the idea of triple Liverpool attack against Burnley just gets the blood flowing below the belt for me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
I don't want to give you this advice because I'm losing, but I've had free hits in the past where I like triple up and then the team just doesn't perform, and you're like, fuck. Like, and is that probably going to be the case this season because Liverpool have been scoring goals for fun? No, but like I have the same fears about going like three of any team in the same positions, or like I don't know. I've always just been like a coverage guy, which is why it's so out of character for me to take the double forest defense, and it hasn't
Yeah.
worked for me.
Well, and I mean, there's something there. I was actually debating going with triple Palace defense because I just don't know where the goals are coming from for them. I guess, but that, then you have three and the clean sheet gets wiped. You're pretty fucked. So yeah, it's just a question of like how hard do you go into those two teams really, and maybe those three if you're going to talk about Tottenham. But would you take a punt on like a um, Brennan Johnson, Mac, this week?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Brennan Johnson is a good player that scores a lot of goals and doesn't do much else. And like I think a lot of people are ragging on him from the Spurs fan base about this Bournemouth game, but they got like no service, and I just don't think it's fair to him. But I mean, I just you know, Colin Muani could play up there, Simons or Simmons could play up there, Richarlison could play up there, and we could play Colin Muani as striker. Like we have four guys who can play in Brennan Johnson's position,
Yeah.
and Brennan Johnson hasn't been lighting it up necessarily. So
what if you went Kudos there? He's 6.5.
Here.
Kudus could be solid. It is a grudge match. He's playing the team he's coming from, so he could be particularly motivated if you want to go on those like ethereal factors, those
His
tertiary
goal threat
factors.
just isn't that great from the games I've been watching, right?
Right, but
Like,
West Ham's defense hasn't been good, so if he's just chucking them in the box against a bad West Ham, it might be
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Especially if you we don't know
He-
this, and that's the problem. But if you get some added potency with that attack, with like Simmons coming up and giving him the ball more, like it could be nice. We don't
But
know.
like, okay,
He
watch
has
this.
corners
Hear me
too.
out. Hear me out. What if, oh God, not Liverpool, of course. What if we go with a 4-0 here and I bring in like this is Wirtz or something, right? And then we have the triple and then I go Gabrielle. Like, doesn't that just look kind of sexy?
No.
No, I
No, we
mean
don't like
it
that.
That
does, but I think that's an over reliance on one team.
On Liverpool's attack versus Burnley, can there be over-reliance?
It's not like it's an over reliance, but
we
it's like
drew Ipswich. Like, yeah, it can happen.
well,
Gosh.
that was a different season, different team basically. But like I don't know. Is there? I guess my question is basically: is there anybody who you think would score more points than like a Verts this week? And that would be my only point of contention with
Yeah.
this entire draft. Like, I think that going Gakpo and Salah is the best two Liverpool picks. It's
Yeah.
just that do we think Verts is going to put up a ton of points? Probably
I
not. He
I
hasn't been doing it. So, is there anybody you can get in there who is a better fixture for the same spot?
I think ideally it would be Ekatike because I don't know Sharp, like this is where I'm at. I don't know if he's going to start or not. But
Yeah.
ideally, like initially I had Ekatike penciled in here because I mean Salah, Gakpo, and Ekatike are the three guys, or well, two of the three guys who have shown this season that they're just consistent. And Salah, I'll bet on him doing something against Burnley for sure. The problem is Ekatike is expensive, and there are a lot of forward options that I'd be happy to take this week, including Holland. I don't have to go with Holland, right? This is easy. I just replace him with Ekatike and we're good to go. But then I start to wonder about like maybe in the midfield trying to bring in Cole Palmer, something like that. Um, and I think that's an option here. So anyway, it gets this. These are the dilemmas. These are the things. But I think like a team like this doesn't look too bad. We'll see. Probably would want somebody instead of Josh King here, but
Well, we'll have to. I think the biggest thing with this free hit team is you have time because it's
yeah,
highly possible that, with the summer that a lot of these guys have had in the Club World Cup and then just having more nonsense fixtures,
and then international fixtures. Yeah,
even if I do decide to not free hit and make a transfer, I still don't think I'm going to make it until after the international break because it just injury risk in these international breaks is always just so high.
100%, 100%. So yeah, we will be back next week to do a little bit more free hit special here. We'll all kind of pool our brains together, see what happens with the IB, and see what comes out of it. But yeah, we'll take a look at that.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
It's been a good one, guys. Catch you next time.